Okay, let's start off. Tell kind of the series that you guys picked out for teen ministry. Teen ministry meets on
Wednesday nights from 6:30 to 8:30, and it's 6th through 12th grade is welcome. And we meet every week. And go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, just talk to them about the series that you guys.
So I don't know if any of you have ever heard of this book. It's called Soul Detox, and it's written by a preacher named Craig Rochelle, who's kind of like Pastor Dale, except he's really funny.
And he has muscles, right?
And he has muscles and all of his hair.
Okay. But we love Pastor Dale.
Well, anyway, he's part of.
We'll say it again in a minute, Rachel.
So he's part of LifeChurchTV.com, which part of their ministry is that they offer all of their resources for free. So we've done a few series from there, and this happened to be one of them. So Dad came over to my house. Pastor Mike.
Pastor Mike.
So he came over to the house, and we're kind of looking through some of them, and we start watching the first video, Soul Detox. Well, about, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 minutes into it, Craig Rochelle said something that immediately convicted me, and it was, are you entertaining yourself with sin? So this is what I said to Dad. I don't want to watch this anymore.
You didn't like that, huh?
I didn't like that, and it's kind of like what Pastor Dale says. He preaches on things he needs to hear, and so as soon as I felt that conviction, I was like, yep, this is the series we're going to do. And it was a 4-part series on Soul Detox, and it talked about toxic influences, toxic fears, toxic thoughts, toxic words. So, the very,
No, you got to go jump on it.
Okay. So, the very first night we did toxic influences, and it talked about what are you letting into your brain and into your heart and your soul that's toxic? Is it the movies you watch, or the books you read, or the music you listen to? Well, in the middle of this, one of my teens deleted his inappropriate music off of his phone right then and there. He felt immediately convicted and just did it. And I was like, dude, you are my hero. And here I am. It's been 2 weeks since I felt that conviction over my own DVD collection. Because if anybody knows, like, The Hangover was my favorite movie. And
Don't say.
Well, it's not anymore because it's in the garbage. But I mean, here I am. I've felt convicted about this for 2 weeks. And this kid, as soon as he felt that conviction, he was like, I'm done with that. And I was like, dude, you're my hero. And I said, you know what? You just gave me the courage to do what I need to do. So that very night when I got home, I filled up a trash bag full of DVDs and some books. And what was so cool was that my own son kind of walked through the room when I was doing it, and he said, I'm proud of you, Mom. And I was like, that's just so cool. So I was amped up that night because I was like, this is what's up, this is what it's about, this is why I said yes when God said, will you be a teen group leader? So I don't know if I called you or texted you, but we're talking and telling Pastor Shane about what happened and just how cool it was. Well, the next day he calls and says that this made him think of the story of Elisha. And I mean, I won't go into the whole story, but if you want to, it's in 1 Kings 19, and it's 19 through 21. And it just talks about how when Elisha accepted the calling, he at the time was a wealthy farmer. So he went back and slaughtered his oxen and burned his plow. And the reason he did that was because he knew that if he had that option, if that plow, if those oxen were still there, he'd be tempted to go back to it. And he said he had accepted a calling and he didn't want to go back to that life. So he didn't even want that temptation. So Pastor Shane said, wouldn't it be cool if at the end of this series we do something like that? We give them a chance to burn their plows. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a great idea. Well, at the time, I had already thrown my DVDs in the trash because I had to do it that night, or I would have changed my mind. I knew it. Pastor Shane said, well, can you get your DVDs so we'll burn them at the end. And I'm like, no, I can't do that. And so he went and got them out of my trash for me.
I'm not going to say what else was there.
So he got them out of the trash for me, and he even had to take them to his house because I was like, they can't come back in my house. I mean, I would put them back on my DVD rack. So we knew, that was what we were going to do at the end. So then weeks 2 and 3 were toxic thoughts and then toxic fears. And it was just amazing the whole time how these teens were just so open and so honest. And I've been in groups since we started, we figured out 7 years ago. I've been a group leader for an adult group, and I mean, never have I seen people just be more open and honest and just like laying it out there for everyone to see. So on night 4, which was the toxic words, was the night that we planned to burn our plows. And so while we were doing the last lesson, Pastor Shane was out starting a fire using my DVDs. And we did our lesson, and then at the end, each of the 3D groups, because we're broken up into smaller groups, they had a chance to write down what their toxic junk was that they were getting rid of. Whether it was toxic influences or toxic fears, toxic words, toxic thoughts that they were done with. And so we all go outside, and I really didn't have an expectation for what was going to happen because
Yeah, they thought I was a team. They thought, oh, we got a new team.
all the 3 groups of teens, we met in the full foyer of the building, and we walk up there. Each of them had a few pieces of paper that had their junk that they were going to get rid of. So we walk up onto the gravel parking lot here, and Pastor Shane had a burn barrel, and it was lit up by my DVDs and a little extra stuff. And we got around, and Pastor Shane, he led into the story. He, went into a lot more detail about Elisha and how, this was a chance for them to burn their own plow. And so then I told him, I said, I want each of you, we wanted to do it individually, and I said, I want each of you you don't have to share what your plow is, you don't have to do anything if you don't want to, but we're going to go around and each person is going to have the chance to burn their plow. And I started, because I've even thrown in a few extra books. Well, then what happened next changed my life forever. Those kids, the toxic junk that they got rid of was so real, and those kids were so vulnerable, and they were emotional. And I mean, I had these 16, 17-year-old guys like hugging each other and giving each other encouragement and crying with each other and hurting for each other and supporting. It was just one of those, as my sister calls it, one of those freaky Jesus moments.
It's not in Scripture.
And it's funny because in the back of mine, I'm thinking, really, I got rid of some DVDs. I mean, these kids were getting rid of. I'm tired of not feeling like I'm going anywhere. I'm tired of feeling angry. I'm tired of, people judging me by my past mistakes. They opened up and they were vulnerable in front of each other. And these are teens. And like I said, I've been in adult groups for a long time. I've never, ever seen people be that open, that honest, that vulnerable, that real. And I mean, we were all crying. Me, Dad, Pastor Shane, but he always cries.
Sinuses this time of year.
And it's funny because later when I had texted about it on Facebook that was just a night I'll never forget, the comments that the teens made were like they thought it was the best night ever, and that they felt like we went from being a group to a family. I mean, it was just it was beautiful. And I mean, these kids changed my life. And it's funny because before I was a teen group leader, I would have never thought I'd be a teen group leader, because I just, I didn't. And I think a lot of us, as adults, we remember what we were like as teens, and we just kind of dismiss teens and maybe don't hear them and listen when that's really all they want. And they influenced their leaders. They impacted my life. Pastor Shane's, Pastor Mike's, Ange, Dee's. It was incredible. So what I wanted to share now is not only that, but I mean, if these teens can be a catalyst for change and for these leaders, that there's nothing stopping you adults from doing the same thing. And you can take a lead from these kids. That's why our memory verse that we've been using all year has been 1 Timothy 4:12. I think it's on the screen. Don't let anyone look down on you because you're young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in faith, and in purity. So don't look at these teens and just think they're teens and, they may not, have any impact. And for you teens, don't think for a second that you can't change this world. You changed this group, and I honestly feel like we have a revival tonight, and we're never going to be the same.
One of the things, and we're going to close here, but one of the things that happened was Melissa asked Raven to come sing The Stand, and after she played that song and sang that song, she made the comment that tonight on October the 17th, your life is changed. This is, like Melissa said, the catalyst that, you're going to be different. Not only are you going to be different, but we're going to be different, but you don't have to go back to those things. And one thing also that I wanted those teens to know, that our church, Pastor Dale, the leaders in this church, I said that night, we don't believe that you guys are the leaders of the future. We believe that you guys are leaders today, and we want to support those teens. And Pastor Mike and Melissa and Ange and Dee are doing great things down there with those teens, and we need to show them honor and show those teens honor and just of what they're doing. So if your teens are not in group, or if your teens are in group, support them. But if they're not in group, these guys are doing great things with these teams. So, all right, if you will, let's stand, and we thank you for your time. And a quick song, if you will, shake someone's hand, tell them what you're going to buy at Walmart.